Alien Fate of the Nostromo. This is a cooperative game, also playable solitaire, because everybody will be going against the alien, against the game system. You will complete several objectives on the board, then you will try to complete a final mission, which comes from a pool of possible missions, so there is variety there. If you're able to complete the final mission, you win the game. You lose the game if the crew loses enough morale. No one dies in this game. Players that encounter the alien get really scared and they lose morale. So there is a shared pool of morale points that goes down due to several effects. Again, main among them encountering the alien. If it goes to the bottom of that track, if your morale goes to the bottom of the track, then the players lose the game. You also lose the game if the ship blows up, because that's self-explanatory why that is bad. Now, I played the game solitaire, and I also played it with one of my kids, Louisa, who is now 9, and they loved the original movie, so they were really excited about trying a game with the same theme. So yes, I showed Alien to my 9-year-old. We watched it last Christmas, and Louisa really likes it, which tells you what kind of parent I am, meaning aware of the importance of a classical education for my kids. Now, here you have the board representing the Nostromo. It is divided into hallways and rooms, and it is 2 separate floors with 2 points of connections. From here, you can transfer to that section, and from here, you can transfer to that section. The alien has a nest and starts here and will go around, and you have your miniatures that represent your position on the board, and then each character has a card here that you use as a reminder of how many actions the characters have. Not all have the same number of actions, as you can see. These are all the iconic characters from the movie. And then you have a number of slots here where you can place items as you craft them and or pick them up. You will also, during the game, collect scraps that you will use to craft items. So, the general idea is very similar to the general structure to what we have in many cooperative games, which is you have a number of action points, you resolve that, and then you draw a card to see what the board does. And Pandemic made that style very popular, very famous. Horrified has popularized it in a simpler way, and possibly also since Horrified is by the same publisher, players will see some similarities here. Alien, Fate of the Nostromo, and Horrified both being by Ravensburger, and probably you can see this as Horrified with only one alien and a couple of other different mechanics. Other things on the board, there will be scrap tokens. I'm gonna put them randomly now because that's the way it works for me. There will be scrap tokens at the beginning of the game on the board. The effects will add more. Those scrap tokens can be used to craft items. So when you craft an item, you spend a specific cost, and then it goes on your personal board. Some items have a number of uses. Say I use this one that starts with 2, now I have 1 left, and after I use that one, I discard it. Some other items that I can craft have infinite uses, such as the flashlight, which reduces the amount of damage that they take, such as the motion tracker, which allows me to peek at these tokens here that will go on the board, and they represent, stuff that may pop out of the air vents. When you enter an area that has one of these tokens, you simply flip it face up and you encounter it. If that token has an alien symbol on it, then it's super bad. But this one, nothing. There was nothing. Oh my gosh, do I have like hands that grab stuff, that can hold stuff? Anyways, that one was nothing. Good. I just entered there, reveal it, and I put it back in the discard pile. It may be, however, that I encountered the alien. Suppose that was there. Then wherever the alien is at that point, it teleports there. It causes the crew that amount of damage to their morale, that much of a morale loss. and then the character just encountered the alien has to run away for 3 spaces, which may lead them to have to flip another marker. Then maybe it'll be nothing, maybe it'll be another evil encounter representing how the alien is stalking you. There's also Jonesy, who is the cat and jumps out of air vents and also scares the bejesus out of the players and causes a loss of morale. Bit weird thematically, but it creates a little bit of extra challenge. Also, if somebody has the cat carrier, they grab the cat carrier, they can capture Jonesy, so it doesn't go around scaring us too much anymore. Those are some of the general ideas. Now, for the turn structure specifically, players will alternate. First, a player takes a turn, they resolve their actions, then they draw an encounter card, then the next player does the same until you win the game or you lose the game. Again, you win by completing the objectives. There is a deck of objectives, so you draw 3 randomly, so variety there also. But most objectives require you to collect or craft some items and bring them to specific locations. Some of the times you need to put all the players in the all the characters in the same location to have a meeting, I guess. Now, so you are taking your 3 actions. For an action, pretty self-explanatory. You move 1 space, that's common. For an action, oh, you don't want to go where the alien is. For an action, you can pick up all of the scrap tokens in your area and place them on your card. Or if there is an item there, then you can, for an action, you can collect an item. And again, you place it on your personal card. For an action, you can use one of those items, again, like the grapple gun that allows you to move the alien, the incinerator, which also moves the alien, but also the alien takes a break after being hit with the incinerator, so there are no encounters at the end of that round. So for an action, you can use an item, and again, you can also craft items. Here you have a very, very well done player aid with the actions on one side, and on the other side, the cost for crafting items, which again you pay for by discarding scraps, and then what they do. So also, if you're in the same space as another player, you may trade items. And again, so you basically, the idea is this: you move around, you either decide that you accept entering areas with those tokens, or you build early on the monitor, the motion tracker, which allows you to peek at tokens without being there. Move around, possibly encounter those things. You're collecting scraps, collecting items, crafting items, using those items to mainly give advantages, such as hitting the alien, picking up Jonesy, stuff like that. But most importantly, to complete these objectives. Once you complete them, again, you reveal the final mission. I'm not revealing it to you, so I don't give you spoilers, and you try to accomplish what it does. They're all based on famous events in the movie. Once you're done with your turn, you draw an encounter card, and some will simply tell you to move the alien, and then if the alien always moves towards the closest player, and then if it reaches the closest player, it inflicts that many points of loss on the morale. It may be that after moving not so much and possibly biting or scaring somebody, then you will add more of these tokens here to the board in a specific location, and also you'll add scrap tokens in that location. There may be other effects related to Ash. I'm sorry. If you haven't watched the movie yet, I'm sorry to report to you that this guy's a bad guy. Yeah, sorry for that spoiler there. So, there's also a variant in which he will be on the board and do bad stuff to you, but in any case, some of these negative effects had to do with Order 937, the crew being expendable, and the Doctor doing bad stuff. So these are kind of like the general events that you can expect, but the general idea, if you play Pandemic, Horrified, or almost every other cooperative game in the last decade, flip the card, possibly bad stuff happens, and in this case, then possibly more stuff happens, but also there's a silver line if you get some scrap tokens. So play, take your turn, the alien goes around, try to avoid it, try to manipulate its movement by grappling gunning it, by using the incinerator, by, tricking it, the fact that it moves towards the closest player, so I really don't want the alien to go there, so I'm gonna make sure that I am the closest player, so that the alien will attack that way, while the other character runs there. That sort of thing. So you continue to play until you complete a final mission, or until you lose all morale, or the ship blows up. Now, I don't know how big the market is for games about the Alien franchise that you can play with 9-year-old kids. I happen to be part of that target audience, but I don't think it's so many out there. And of course, my kid Louisa is also in that target audience. So what you have here is a game about the Alien franchise with a family game kind of philosophy behind it. No one dies, which is fine by me, because to me the most important thing when we play games is that everybody needs to be playing. That's why we don't skip turns anymore, we don't like player elimination anymore, so I'm fine. It's a little bit of an abstract thing, of course, that the players lose morale, but I don't have any problem with that. But I do see how many may find this as an unacceptable detour from the general spirit of the original franchise. Again, I like it not because, oh my gosh, I don't want any violence in my games. I like it because it keeps all the players in the game, and it still reduces your chances of winning every time that you meet the alien. I don't have a problem with that. I think a lot of people will not like that, though. And in terms of complexity, again, it's similar to Horrify, to Pandemic, so you can play it with young players, with fairly young players, no problem whatsoever. It's, if anything, it's easier, simpler than Pandemic, and somewhere along the lines of Horrify. But it's still probably simpler than that one also. But it still works to me as an adventure story in which the alien is there, and is not terrifying, sure, but it's scary enough because I don't want to lose those points, I don't want to lose the game. And so I'm still gaming the system. Hey, alien, I'm here! And the alien moves that way while somebody else does something else. The fact that you had that alien that is scary and is on the board, but from time to time will jump out of a vent, will appear where you don't expect it. So in a sense, the alien, where the alien was, is where the alien thought, where you thought the alien was, but then it's somewhere else. To me, it works. To me, it creates a nice sense of menace, a nice sense of fear, while at the same time giving you options to strategize around it. Again, I don't want the alien to be completely random, controlled by randomness, because it's fun that in most of the cases, I think I'm 3 spaces away from the alien. There are many chances that the alien moves by 3 spaces, but he might. And so I may plan, okay, I'm not going to do exactly what I wanted to do this turn, so I'm at least 4 spaces away, which really makes it hard for the alien to reach me. Or I take more of a chance because I am taking more of the actions I want to take, planning better, but the more I do that, the more I'm increasing my chances of meeting the alien. I find in terms of game engine, for a simple family-friendly game, the movement of the alien works well. Works perfectly well for me. What becomes a problem, so again, the general idea to me, it's fine. You have a light family game about the Alien franchise that you can play solo, and it plays in less than an hour, a lot less than an hour actually. If you're playing solo and just making all the decisions, you can probably play it in 30 minutes or so. I think that's more or less what my games lasted. So, as a fun family game about Alien, it's perfectly manageable in general. What seems to be a problem that weakens the experience is scale. There seems to be just the game does different weird things depending on the number of players. For example, and I read online, I only play with 2 characters tops, but I read online people complaining with more characters, the game becomes more complicated, more difficult, and I can totally see that because there are probably, unless you move in small groups, there are going to be more targets for the alien to eat. So I can totally see that, although again, full disclosure, I haven't played it, I see how it can work that way. However, what I can tell is playing with two characters, some of the final missions are almost impossible to pull off. And so that's a problem. There was a mission in which, two characters had to be in specific places of the board, and the alien needs to be in a specific location on the board, and you need to draw a specific card. We played and played and played and tried over and over again, and we got to like a static situation in which we could build enough stuff to keep the alien at bay, but the alien wasn't exact in the exact location, or if it wasn't exact location, we don't draw the right card. Then I started using Lambert's ability to kind of manipulate the deck and get better chances. And so we played for a long time just trying to create that combination. We got bored and we decided to call it a tie because we had enough control that we weren't losing, but we couldn't exactly create the right configuration, which would have been, I guess, a lot easier with multiple players grappling gunning the alien. Another one where you need to collect a lot of tokens in a limited amount of turns, but it's based on how often a certain character goes. So if that character, there's another character, then the character goes again. The countdown is a little faster that the character goes, 3 characters go, and then the countdown, goes down by another tick. And so that mission, again, wasn't particularly fun. It seemed impossible to me. So either you know that, and with fewer players, you select a final mission that's actually doable, some are, or, well, that's kind of disappointing to go through the objectives fairly easily and then boom, to get a final mission, which is very hard or almost impossible due to the number of players. Maybe that's a way that they wanted to scale it. Without the players, completing objectives is harder and the final mission is easier, or the other way around. But to me, good scalability means that the game is hard just right throughout the entire experience rather than very easy and then almost impossible, or very hard and then very easy. So there are just a couple of things that are mainly to do with the mission, in my opinion, with the final mission, that don't scale particularly well. With that aside, again, that's a minus, definitely. That's a minus in the design, which otherwise, overall, with the exception of some final mission being kind of unfun, I still enjoy the overall experience. I think there is a great game in here, kind of like trapped in the body of an average game. I like the general idea of having a simple, family-friendly cooperative game about running away from an alien. I don't know that it captures the spirit of the franchise fully because of the mechanic that no one dies. Other than that, the effects, the characters, the gadgets, they feel very thematic. So it still has a lot of the theme. But again, there are some weaknesses here and there that I think prevent it from becoming a truly great game. And this is my assessment for Alien: Fate of the Nostromo.